the disadvantages. Disadvantages. Yes, the merits of the audiolingual method. Like it is claimed that students are made to listen to audios, and they are imitating their teacher, they are mimicking their teacher. So they acquire their spoken skills. Their spoken skills are improved. But in fact, the reality is that communication competence, art of speaking, or art, say, speaking with fluency and accuracy, remains a far cry. Remains a far cry. So you may say this can be the first point. The first demerit, that uh, communicative competence. What is communicative competence? Tell me. Communicative competence means competence of, like, talking in English in the foreign language is communicative competence. Communicative competence remains a far cry. Something is a far cry means, like, which is targeted, but you don't attain it. You don't attain it. Is a far cry. So this method does not help in developing communicative competence. And the students' exposure to the vastness of language remains just quite limited, because language is very vast. Language is vast, I must say. There is no boundary here, that language starts from this end and it goes till that end. There is no set line, right? And you cannot tell the say entire number of sentences which are available. No, you cannot. Do you think the great writers that we know, like Shakespeare, William Wordsworth, the poet, I mean, and say the modern writers, or you just talk about the Indian writers, Ramanujan, or say R.K. Narayan, or say Mulk Raj Anand, or say Sudha Murthy also writes?
Yeah.
Okay. What does she write?
She writes short stories.
She writes short stories. I haven't read any short story by Sudha Murthy. In fact, I have read by others, like Kamla Markandeya and all. Okay, so these are the writers like Anita Desai and all, Shashi Deshpande. There's so many, Manju Kapoor, a number of. So they are Indians, but they're writing in English. Do you think they were taught just a few sentences? What do you do in audiolingual method? They are set number of sentences, say 100, 200. You are teaching those 100, 200 sentences to your students, and you believe that your students or your learners would be able to communicate well. No, they will be, or they would be able to communicate, but sometimes it happens. They cut a sorry figure, when they come across a sentence which they have not heard before. Because language, as I said, has no set line, it has no boundary. It's very vast. So that's why this method doesn't help much. It doesn't help in attaining communicative competence. The students' exposure, I said, remains limited because the language is very vast. Conversation here, the conversation must not be confused with oral practice. Conversation, you cannot like converse well, you cannot communicate well if you have just learnt a few sentences. Can you? You cannot. Conversation involves a free, spontaneous discussion. this is not preconceived, like, while I'm talking, while I'm, like, discussing audiolingual method, I do not have preconceived sentences there in my mind. Sentences are just coming as naturally, I must say, as leaves to a tree. They, because you cannot communicate if you learn just a few sentences. So I was saying, what does it involve? Conversation, a good conversation involves a free, natural, spontaneous discussion by two persons on any topic of common interest. Suppose, suppose we are talking about movies. Suppose we are talking about Bollywood movie. Suppose we are talking about a common movie that we watch together. So we can, communicate well if we know the language. And if we do not know the language, we will not be able to communicate well. Isn't that so?
Yes, sir.
So communicate competence remains a far cry. Why? Because language is very vast. Just by learning or say mugging up a few sentences, you cannot you cannot converse well. You cannot communicate well. Okay? Isn't it so? Yes. And I was telling you, and I gave an example that elephant is a huge animal. Now they know that elephant is a huge animal. They know the words elephant is a huge animal, but they don't know the meaning. So here in audiolingual method, sounds are given importance. Sounds are primary and meanings are secondary. When sounds are primary, you can learn the words, you can learn the structures, but you don't learn the meaning. Okay, sounds are primary and meanings are secondary. This is very important. Sounds are primary and meanings are secondary. Do you remember about the meanings? We did a entire lecture on meanings, deeper meaning. What was that?
Pragmatics.
Pragmatics. Good. Sounds are primary and meanings are secondary. Now, pragmatics is very important. You should understand even the gestures. So, you should understand even the signs. Even the unspoken unspoken words, they also have a meaning. Even silence has a meaning. So pragmatics is very important. Students cannot learn pragmatics here in the audiolingual method. So this you may say is a big drawback, a big limitation. This method does not encourage students to reflect on meaning of words. Okay, or meaning of words. Their knowledge remains limited to sounds of words. Communication becomes meaningful and it's interesting as a result of understanding of the contextual meaning. Okay, the meaning words carry in a context, not just the conceptual meaning. This is what in pragmatics, what did we study? We studied about the contextual meaning. Contextual meaning is more important. Conceptual is important, but contextual is more important. So if students are taught through audiolingual method, they do not understand the meanings naturally, or say they do not understand, they do not learn the meaning in the context properly, because the emphasis is on the sounds. And I was saying that language becomes meaningful, language becomes interesting as a result of contextual meanings and due to facial expressions and gestures. Your facial expressions, they also play a very big role. I can make out whether my students are following or not. How can I make out? Because if students do not follow, they would either give blank faces, okay, zombie, okay, they will behave like zombies, and they would be dumb. So you can make out whether they are following you or not, and if they are following, then also you can make out. So body gestures, they also play a very big role in attaining communicative competence. So if students are taught through this audiological method, the mechanical method, they don't learn the pragmatics of language, I must say. So I would call this method a mechanical method. Not I, in fact, it is called a mechanical method. It's a mechanical method. It's a mechanical method. Yeah. What was the opposite of mechanical?
Interesting.
Okay, interesting or say natural, spontaneous. So it's a mechanical method. Because why was it a mechanical method? Because
Machine-like, robotic.
okay, why is it so? Because it relies too much on drills and memorization. Students are memorizing. Okay, elephant is a huge animal. Elephant is a huge animal. It has got a big trunk. It has got a big trunk. So drills and memorization make it dull and mechanical. The students are mere passive learners. They are not using their mind. Like when you do practical criticism, what do? You use your practical mind. When you are doing practical criticism of a poem, you use your mind. But here, students do not use their mind. They are simply passive learners. So some is, what happens? All students are not passive learners. All students are not zombies. Some students are very smart. Some smart students are not, interested in repeating the same structures over and over again. If you keep saying elephant is a huge animal, elephant is a huge animal, the student would say, yes, we know, please say something more. Is it not? It happens? Yeah. So it's a mechanical method. And like here in this method, information is memorized and not internalized. Information, whatever you teach, information is memorized, because we have drills and drills all the time. So many drills drill your mind. In fact, internal information is memorized and not internalized. It should become a part of your behavior. It should become a part of yourself. It should be inherent in your personality. Then it is internalized. The mechanical learning makes the information memorized. Information is memorized and not internalized. Like the audiological method is based on which theory? Is it based on
Skinner's theory.
Skinner's theory? Skinner's which theory?
Behavioralism.
Behaviorism. Very good. It is based on Skinner's behaviorism. So a theory that sees learners as passive receivers of information. This behaviorist theory sees the learners of language as passive receivers of information, whose behavior is shaped through passive or negative, positive or negative reinforcement. Like teacher's duty is just to give the feedback, positive feedback and negative feedback. He gives positive feedback when the responses are correct. He gives a negative feedback when the responses are wrong. So this is all very passive, very mechanical. This method does not encourage students to use their innate and creative abilities to learn the rules of the language. We have innate abilities. We have creative abilities. Those abilities are to be used, and they make the learning and teaching of a language interesting. Like you must have seen, like when we teach a drama or a novel. Now suppose like you have done Animal Farm. Now I would say, if Napoleon behaves so in such a way, why does he behave like that? So here you are made to imagine, right? If Schuyler speaks like that, if Schuyler is a pack of lies, then why is he so? Okay, so you're not made to imagine, because you're not being taught novels and dramas, you are rather taught dialogues. Okay? That is why this method becomes mechanical. And this method becomes boring also. This method is boring at times. This method is, Fries and Ledo, the founders of the audiolingual method, if they happen to see these demerits, they would kill me. This method is boring. Any method can be boring and interesting, I would tell again. It all depends on the teacher and the students. The extensive use of, say, repetitive process of drill makes learning dull and boring. Because you just keep saying elephant is a big animal, then it becomes very boring. Okay? Because what is it? Excessive. Too much use of this repetitive process, drills and drills. This makes learning very dull and boring. I don't know, drills. I have always found drills boring, very dull. Besides, the excessive use of, say, pattern drills results in lack of motivation of the learners. Students get demotivated. I said there are smart boys also in the class. The smart learners, they get demotivated. They won't like to listen to the lecture, or they won't like to learn through this method. Why? Because the teacher is not moving further. He keeps on telling that the elephant is a big animal or a huge animal. So, what a lack of motivation is there for the smart learners. And yes, it gives emphasis on listening and speaking, and the other two skills, they are also important. Reading and writing skills remain neglected, overlooked. Reading and writing skills. Writing skills are not given due emphasis or remain neglected. Yes. And those who are sitting at the far end are able to see it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. It is claimed that the audiolingual method gives due importance, due emphasis to all the four skills of learning. However, it's not so. Yes, it's not so, because most of the time is devoted to oral drills and mechanical learning of everyday dialogues. Why do we have everyday dialogues? Because the teacher, feels that if students are taught everyday dialogues, then they may attain communicative competence. But communicative competence cannot be attained just by learning the everyday dialogues. So reading and writing skills remain neglected. Okay, this is okay?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So these are the disadvantages. I just read them out once again. Those who cannot, yes, you may take them down. Communicative competence remains a far cry. Sounds are primary and meanings are secondary. It is a mechanical method. Information is memorized and not internalized through this method. This method is boring. This method is dull because of drill and all. And reading and writing skills remain neglected. They are not given due emphasis. They are not given due importance. The emphasis is on just the listening and the spoken skills. Why? Because the aim is to attain the communicative competence. And that's a very fallacious way, in fact, that by just learning the everyday dialogues, the common utterances, you can attain communicative competence. Well, now I would like to give you a peep, our teacher is teaching, through this audiolingual method. So let us have a peep into the classroom, taught through the audiolingual method. Suppose if you happen to have a peep, look into the classroom where the English is taught, the foreign language is taught through the audiolingual method. So, like acting upon the concept of reinforcement, the idea of reinforcement. Who gave the idea of reinforcement? Again, I'm saying, remember the name. Behavioral theory, yes, Skinner. Okay, so acting upon the idea of reinforcement, the teacher keeps telling the students new words, and the students repeat those after the teacher. But these words are not taught, individually. They're taught in the context. He's, reading a story or say reading dialogues. Then he would discuss the meanings also, meanings of words. So what does he do? He keeps telling the students new words, and the students repeat those words after the teacher. Like, elephant is a huge animal, so you say huge, huge. So what is given importance? Sound is given importance. I'm giving you a peep into the classroom. So huge all the time. Now he's not telling, well, huge means big. Okay, huge means large. So that they learn synonyms also. And he should, like, he does show the picture also. Well, this is elephant, and this is a very huge animal, it's a very big animal, it's a very large animal. It's like that. So, as self-explanatory as it sounds, this all implies that the students are supposed to memorize all what they are being taught to say. What do they say? Is whatever is being said to them, they just memorize it. They are said that, well, this say, repeat it, huge, they would go on memorizing the word. And it will become a habit, and they would know that elephant is a huge animal. I can even give this lecture, I titled Huge Animal. Yes, I've said it so many times. I almost drilled this sentence. This is more like a drill, whereby the student is exposed to keep repeating it until they are able to use the learnt words or rules by themselves and in a more spontaneous manner. The most important feature of this method is that the language is learnt mainly through dialogues. This you must remember. Students are not taught novels, students are not taught dramas, students are not taught poems, students are not taught other genre of literature. What are they taught? They are taught dialogues. Like in my student days, a book was there in compulsory English, and that book was Everyday Dialogues. Everyday Dialogues. Now such books are not taught. We do not have books where we have simply dialogues. So we had just conversations there in that book, Everyday Dialogues. The reading and writing parts are suspended for learning at the later stage. Teacher gives emphasis on the spoken, listening and the spoken skills, and reading and writing skills are, postponed. They are taught or they are taken up afterwards. So here you had a peep into the classroom taught through the audio lingual method. Now let us quickly have a critical evaluation of the audio lingual method. On the one hand, extensive memorization, repetition, and overlearning of patterns is the key to the audio lingual method's success. This became successful, this method, because students could see the immediate results. Parents used to feel very happy. Well, their ward or their son or their daughter has learned so many sentences in English. Okay, they are the everyday dialogues, and when a student is able to learn so many sentences, then he is under the impression that he has picked up the language, he knows the language. So then you may say this was the reason for its popularity. This was very popular, say until recently, say till the 90s or say 80s at least, you may say. So you must on the one hand, what did I say? Extensive memorization, repetition, overlearning of patterns was the main reason for the success of the audiolingual method. Okay, because students could see the immediate results. But this was the same thing was its big weakness also, big demand also, big limitation also on the other hand. As natural and meaningful communication cannot take place on the basis of mucked up sentences and the structures. Okay? Well, now you tell me, repeat it, what I said. Yes? What do you say? How will you evaluate the audiolingual method? What is its plus point?
Repetition.
That the outcomes are very spontaneous, or means the results are very early.
Results are very early, so students feel very happy.
Very happy and contented that they know
They,
the
they,
language.
they feel contented, okay. They have a sense of attainment that they have learned so many sentences. Okay. But this is very, this is a fallacy. It's fallacious. Why? Why is it fallacious? Why is it a weakness? The same thing, this memorization and repetition turns out to be a weakness also. Why? Because language cannot be learned mechanically by just mugging up the sentence structures. Okay? Okay, good. And the method's insistence on repetition and memorization of standard phrases ignore the role of context and knowledge in language learning. Okay, context, role of context, or say a role of knowledge in language learning is not given due importance in this method. The emphasis is only on drills. The emphasis is only on repetition, or say memorization of standard phrases, standard dialogues. So after years of adopting this method, it was realized that language cannot be acquired through a process of habit formation. Language cannot be acquired through a process of habit formation. It was understood that audiolingual methodology did not deliver any improvement, or say improvement in communicative ability. Students could not be made to speak well, could not be made to communicate well through this method. So this was realized later on. That earlier it was an emergent need. It was urgently required that army personnel should learn the foreign language. That is why this method was introduced. Okay, if you want to have a sense of attainment, and say if you want to have a sense of, just learn say 300 sentences of French, and then you can speak out those 300 sentences wherever you think you want to impress people. Then the listeners might think, oh, she's so great, she knows that language also. So this is what, do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So this was its limitation. This was a reason behind its success, and also the same thing turned out to be its limitation also in the long run. So as the study of linguistics developed over the years, over the decades, it was discovered that language was not acquired through a process of habit formation, and that's errors were not necessarily bad. If a student is making mistake, and if I just stop him, okay, come on, you don't even know that. We don't use we don't say he go or I does. Then what would happen? The student would be discouraged. He wouldn't speak. He would be hesitant to speak. First, let us develop the habit of speaking. Even if he is making mistakes, overlook those mistakes. Okay, neglect those mistakes. Just make him learn the language first. Make him learn the spoken skills. Once he learned, then we can make corrections. That is why there is an approach, error negligence approach, where errors committed by the learners of English, at the initial stage, are overlooked, are neglected. So errors are not always bad. They are not necessarily bad. दाग अच्छे हैं. Remember the dialogue? I mean the ad. Is an ad of what? दाग अच्छे हैं. Some detergent powder.
Yes.
Yeah. So here also, errors are not bad always. They are not necessarily bad. Many scholars have proven its weakness. Many linguists, you may say, have proven the weakness of audiolingual method. Like Noam Chomsky, I remember. He wrote a review of B.F. Skinner's verbal behavior, Skinner's behavioral approach or the concept, the theory, around 1950s, late 1950s, 1959 you may say. So he wrote a strong criticism of the principles of the behaviorist theory. And since then, audiolingual method has lost its currency, is not in vogue, is not followed as frequently and as freely as it was followed earlier. It was followed in, say, 1950s, 60s, 70s, and in countries like India, or say, where English is taught as a second language, it was followed, say, till the 20th century, till the previous century. As I told you, even like my teachers were using audio visual aids in the classroom, and they were given due emphasis, and we also felt, very enthusiastic using those audio visual aids, especially in the audios. And the correct pronunciation was, taught to us through the audios. The teacher would make us listen to the words with right pronunciation. This is how. Okay, so this audiolingual method is clear to you?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so how many methods have we covered so far? We have covered 4 methods. Grammar translation method and
Direct method.
direct method,
Bilingual method.
bilingual method, and the last, this one, the audiolingual method. Are there any questions you would like to ask me?
No,
No,
sir.
sir.
No? Are you all set to take up this in your exam?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Okay. Thank you.